Mikella G reporting here from Kids First, and today I have the honor of speaking with Mika Boorem, who is the director of the new film Hollywood.con, which you can now watch on Amazon Prime. Mika has been acting for 25 years and has won many awards and nominations. She is best known for her roles in Sleepover and Dawson's Creek. How are you today, Mika?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me on. This is exciting, Mikella. Thank you.
Yeah, so let's get started. What was it like getting to direct your first feature film?
Directing was a blast. So I started out acting when I was 7. And so moving from acting, which is, one piece of the puzzle, and then sort of, progressively taking on more responsibility, because directing is more responsibility. You're there from the beginning of the project to the end of the project. Also, for each day, you have more responsibility as well, because as an actor, sometimes you come on set and you just have one scene that day or 2 scenes that day. But as a director, you're one of the first people there in the morning, and then you're one of the last people to leave, because you're involved in each scene and each thing filmed, and helping to guide everything to make sure that everything kind of has the same feel and the same kind of so that it all matches. It has the same cohesive look to it. So you're there a lot. So so it was an interesting progression from the acting into the directing. And then I started out directing short films. And so that's sort of like how I got my feet wet with it, to see if I liked it, because directing a short film is a lot smaller of a commitment than a full feature. Because for a short film, sometimes it's 2 days, sometimes it's 4 days, it's a week. But for a full film, you're trying to fill like an hour and a half, and you have all these different locations, all these things. So it's a lot bigger thing. So I started off making these short films to see, if I liked it, if that was something I enjoyed, and then also just sort of working out what parts would be difficult, like trying things out and just learning more, so that then when I would go to a full feature, I'd be ready. So I started doing that, and then I did some music video stuff as well, to sort of like amp up into the full feature directorial debut. Because like for this, we filmed all over too. We filmed in Texas, we filmed in Arizona, we filmed in Mexico, we filmed in Guatemala. And there's a big cast in it. There's a lot of actors in it. There's a lot of animals in it. There's just a lot of different things. So it's a lot to manage and make sure that it all matches.
Yeah, it seems like a lot more. So what attracted you to this story?
So Hollywood.con, which is my movie that's out on Amazon right now, is really a fun, quirky movie that I just wanted people to have a good time. I knew that for my directorial debut, I knew that it was something that I was going to be spending a lot of time with, because it was my first full-length feature. So I knew that just getting it developed and getting everything laid out in the beginning, and then I just knew it was going to take more time than later on, if you go to direct something and you're more of a director for hire, where you come in and you just work on someone else's project. And sometimes, maybe that's a month, 2 months, whatever. This, I was like, okay, so it's got to be something that I like, something that's fun and enjoyable. So I didn't want to do people being sad or dramatic stuff. I was like, I want it to be fun, and I want it to be weird. And I tried to think of one of the big suggestions that people always come up with stuff is, one of the classical sayings is write what you know. And so I was like, okay, well, what do I know? And since I grew up acting, and I grew up on set, I was I know stuff about, funny things within the Hollywood scene. So I wanted there to be an LA Hollywood aspect of it. So we included all of these really wacky, funny, quirky characters, and different jokes and dialogue things that I had heard over the years on set, just people name dropping, be I think one of my favorite lines in the movie too is there's this guy, he's on the phone with his mom and he's like, Mom, I need more money, like send more money. And somebody walks into his office and he's like, oh, Beyonce. Like, oh, yeah, well, okay, Beyonce, gotta go later, baby, later, Snookums. And he like hangs up. So like just stuff like that that I'd seen, I'm like, that's fun. So I want to include that. And then for the other side of it, because I wanted it to be like more bigger than that, the other side of it is like this Latin America gemology section, because there's the enchanted piece of jade in the movie. So my dad's actually a gemologist, and yeah, he works with gemstones, and he travels around the world with that, which is such like an odd, interesting job. And so same thing, like write what you know. And I was like, well, my dad knows so much about, like, because he does a lot in Latin America, so he knows so much about like the Latin culture. Oh, my little light went out. Oh well. So much for that. But yeah, so he knows about like the Latin American culture. He knows about the stones. And so I was like, that's fun because we can make this comedy, but with both having a background in these different areas, we can ground them in like a little bit of like genuine like authenticity or character, and like add these real aspects so that if anybody's really familiar with either one of those things, then they'll like watch it and be like, oh my gosh, like, that strikes a chord with me. Like that's something that like, you know what I mean? That like, I feel like it's real. So, yeah. So sorry, that was such a long-winded
It's like relatable to you.
You're like, my question was this thing.
It's okay. It's okay. No, I didn't know that. So, yeah. Okay. So I think you have a quite impressive cast in this film, like Tom Arnold and Devin Rattray. So what was the casting like?
So the movie, I cast people that I had worked with in the past that I had acted with. So that was really fun. So like Tom Arnold, who's such a funny character, before your time, but you should see it. True Lies was really, really funny. Yeah, it's such a fun movie. But, and he's done so much other stuff too. But Tom played my dad on a TV show for 2 years when I was 10. So when I was putting this together, I was like trying to think of, people who'd be so fun to build out this quirky cast. And I was like, oh my gosh, like Tom's the funniest person alive, because he does stand-up comedy. He just like, blah, 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 he just goes. And so I emailed Tom and I was like, Tom, it's my directorial debut. Here's a really fun, quirky character. His name's L. Jade. Can you jump on and like, be a part of this? And yeah, he was like, absolutely. I'm available right away. He's like, I could shoot in 3 days. So I was like, no, we need longer than 3 days. I was like, I need to finish building the sets, putting stuff together. And then a lot of the other actors are just people that I had worked with, like Devin Rattray, who's in it. He and I did a movie together like 10 years ago. And he's such a fun actor too. Did you see Home Alone?
Yeah, he's in that.
Do you remember the older brother, Buzz, with the tarantula?
Yeah. Is that him when he's little?
Yeah, it's him when he's little.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, and he's gone on to do so much other stuff too. Like, have you seen the Amazon TV show The Tick?
No.
Okay, so like he did that, and like there's the Netflix show Russian Dolls, and the movie Masterminds, and like he's done so much stuff. But yeah, Buzz from Home Alone. It's always one of my favorite. And then Buzz's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So my next question is, if you were going to an audition and they didn't say whether or not to dress the part, would you?
This is such a funny thing because like I don't know, to be honest. It's such a funny thing because like so many different sources tell actors that they're supposed to dress the part and show up like completely as the role. And I have gone to auditions and seen some of my friends in the most wild outfits, and I'm just like, I'm like impressed, but I'm also confused. I'm like, so like I remember I saw my one friend at this audition, and he had these like huge baggy cargo pants on, and like these big black platform boots, And then he had like where people do the small braids all over the head, and he had all this eyeliner on. I was just
Like all out.
Yeah, all out. And I was like, man, that's some commitment. Like, I'm impressed. But it's funny too, because I think that either that will get like the director and like the producers like really excited, like, oh, this person's committed. Or I think that if you don't quite if you go too far with it, they might, think that like, oh, well, we weren't thinking that extreme. Yeah. I think the best advice with it is to do something that's like slightly influenced by it. So like, say you're going to play a role and the girl's a librarian, right? So maybe you don't dress up exactly like carry like a bag of books and like, but maybe you wear something that's like a little bit more conservative. Or like, say you're going to play a role and the girl's a rock star. So maybe you wear a little bit more, you'd have to make sure that it didn't make noise, because sometimes if you wear jewelry and you're recording sound, it's really bad. But, maybe wear a little bit more like jewelry, or like, make your hair a little bit crazy, or throw a hat on or something. But I think, so I think like a light enough in that direction where people could get an idea that you could be that person, but not so much where you seem like really, really specific. But
good to know. Yeah. Okay.
Leave your costume at home.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Mika, for joining me today. This is Mika Boorem. Make sure to watch her film Hollywood.con on Amazon Prime. I'm Mikella G reporting for Kids First. Make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you never miss any of our videos. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.